Mayi Moulen doesn't photograph well. That texture comes first. Thick, pale, heavy, patient. It doesn't sparkle. It doesn't perform. Mayi Moulen doesn't rush you. It settles. It waits. And maybe that's why it rarely gets the credit it deserves, even though Mayi Moulen has fed generations, even though it was there long before it had a fancier name. We'll get to that. Corn is not European. Let's start there. Corn originated in Mesoamerica, in what is now Mexico, about 9,000 years ago. Indigenous people cultivated it, ground it, cooked it, and built entire civilizations around corn. It was sacred food, daily sustenance, both at once. When corn reached the Caribbean, it took root. The Taíno of Haiti were there, already farming corn, long before any European set foot on the island. In Haiti, Mayi Moulen, also ground corn, became one of the earliest and most dependable foods the land could offer. It fed farmers before sunrise. It fed children before school, not because it was glamorous, but because it was always there. In Haitian Creole, Mayi Moulen simply means ground corn, cooked low and slow, beaten into submission, not stirred with patience, seasoned with the usual garlic, thyme, salt. It becomes something warm and grounding. Served with sauce pois noir or sauce pois rouge, meaning black bean sauce or red bean sauce. Coulé style, meaning with the red beans or the black beans cooked in, mixed into it. Or, one of my old-time favorites, with amasso, smoked salted herring. Or simply with sliced avocado on the side. Some families add coconut milk for richness. Some add spinach. Some cook the coarse variety, which is most popular at lunch or dinner time. And others make a breakfast or dinner porridge with the finely ground kind, also known as la bouillie. Yet others use the corn flour to make that breakfast staple known as akassa, or AK-100 as the Haitians in the diaspora jokingly refer to it. The form of the maïs changes, the corn. The recipe changes. Its purpose and its significance, however, doesn't change. Simple ingredients, reliable results, no pretense. Here's something that makes me chuckle. Right now in restaurants across New York, Paris, London, LA, Seattle, where I live, there's a dish on the menu that will cost you $15, $20, maybe even $30. It's described as creamy, rustic, artisanal. It's served in a wide bowl and is sometimes made with cheese, or has a braised short rib on top, or has seared scallops on top, or even a drizzle of truffle oil. It's called polenta. And guess what? At the end of the day, it's just good old Mayi Moulen. Polenta was once considered poor peasant fare in northern Italy. Today, it's on menus at restaurants all over the world. But it's not just polenta. Cornmeal porridge feeds the world under different names. In the American South, grits. In Kenya, ugali. In South Africa, pap. In Eastern Europe, mămăligă. In Barbados, cuckoo. And in Brazil, angu. The grain is the same, the preparation is similar. What changes, however, is the story attached to it and who gets to tell that story. Polenta gets prefix. Grits get a brunch revival. Mayi Moulen is still considered struggle food by some. That double standard is not about the food. It never was. Diaspora Podcast is sponsored by Jasmine Delme Studios and powered by the JDS Podcast Network, a network created to amplify voices, inspire communities, and turn meaningful conversations into lasting impact. Visit jdelmestudios.com. To understand why Mayi Moulen matters today, you have to understand what happened to the Haitian rice industry. And that is a story that's big enough for its own episode, which is coming soon. But here's the thread that connects directly to this one. In 1985, Haiti produced over 163,000 tons of rice and imported less than 5% of its supply from the U.S. Haiti was largely feeding itself. Then in 1987, the Haitian government slashed rice tariffs from 150% to 50%, the lowest in the Caribbean. As a result, cheap, subsidized foreign rice flooded Haitian markets at prices that our local farmers could not match. In less than 2 years, the local rice production collapsed. Farmers abandoned their land, and rural communities that had grown rice for generations lost their primary source of income. By 2020, Haiti was importing almost $245 million worth of foreign-produced and grown rice. Yet Mayi Moulen was still there in the pot because Mayi Moulen endured when everything around it was being dismantled. Here's what nobody talks about. This dish goes somewhere unexpected. Mayi Moulen feeds the living, but cornmeal in Haiti also speaks to the spirits. In Vodou, Haiti's deeply rooted spiritual tradition, ceremonies begin with the drawings of sacred symbols on the floors of the temples. These symbols are called Veve. Veve are drawn on the earthen floor of the peristyle, which is the ceremonial temple space, using cornmeal or ashes. The Veve are central to Vodou rituals because they are meant to compel the spiritual energy associated with a particular loi or spirit to descend. Each loi has its own unique Veve, a specific symbol, a specific design, a specific language drawn in cornmeal on the ground. The cornmeal that carries the symbol also carries the invitation. The practice of drawing these symbols came originally from West Africa. When the enslaved Africans were brought to Haiti, they carried these practices in their memories. And under the brutal conditions of slavery and enforced Christianity, these practices became lifelines, secret ways to maintain identity and preserve faith. And in their new home, palm oil, which was used in Africa, was not always available. But cornmeal was, so they adopted the practice. The symbols grew more elaborate. Each loi received their own distinct design, drawn in the one material that this new land made accessible. The same grain the colonizers and enslavers dismissed as peasant food was the very material that enslaved people used to call on their ancestors, preserve their identity, and organize their resistance. The Haitian Revolution, let me remind you, was the only successful slave revolt in recorded history, and it had its spiritual roots in Vodou ceremonies. Cornmeal was the medium through which these ancestors were called. Cornmeal fed the body, it called the spirit, and that is not a dish that does not deserve respect. That is a dish that deserves every bit of respect. In the diaspora, cornmeal, or Mayi Moulen, often disappears, or it gets swapped out for something that's easier to explain, or it gets set aside because the kitchen it lived in stayed behind. Because when you arrive somewhere new and someone tells you, directly or quietly, that what you grew up eating marks you as a poor or foreign or other, the easiest thing to do is to put it away. But memory doesn't follow those instructions, right? When money gets tight, Mayi Moulen comes back. When we get homesick, and that homesickness gets loud, Mayi Moulen comes back. And when you need something reliable and warm that you know is going to be comforting, it comes back. Because survival leaves us with instructions. And some of those instructions are written in a pot, on a stove, 6 in the morning, 6 in the evening, whatever time it happens, before the rest of the house wakes up and before everybody comes home from school or work. So in closing, let's talk about Mayi Moulen. Once again, it was never poor people's food. It was just people food. It fed the Taíno, who first cultivated the land. It fed the families who held on after colonization and slavery stripped the agricultural economy bare. It fed those rural communities whose rice industry was dismantled by policies made in other countries by other world powers. It drew the sacred symbols that called the loi down from the spirit world. And it's still on the table, unchanged, just doing what it's always done. So here's what I want to know. What food in your life never got its flowers? What dish carried you quietly, filled your belly, while you were too busy or too ashamed to call it out? Say its name, not because you're being told it was worthy of being called out, but because you, deep down inside, know that Mayi Moulen is worth its place in your life. You can find us at Diaspora, the Soul of a People podcast. And until next time, Nawe. Thank you.